Before we start this episode, I want to be honest with you. This one took longer than I expected. Part of it was practical things, road work noise outside, recording issues, technical problems. But the real reason is deeper than that. Life has been happening. Recovery has been happening. I've been adjusting to my body again, learning what healing actually looks like. Therapy, pelvic floor work, penile rehabilitation, walking, strength training, and changing how I eat. And honestly, trying to get this message right because this podcast matters to me. Over the past weeks, I've realized something important. People walking through cancer or any major life challenge aren't just looking for hope. They're looking for information. They're looking for honesty. They're looking for someone who understands what the climb actually feels like. And they're looking for connection so they don't feel alone. And part of that connection is communication. I want this podcast to be a two-way conversation. If something in these episodes help you, challenges you, or if you're walking a similar road, I want to hear from you. I'll share my email and Instagram at the end of this episode so we can stay connected. A good friend reminded me of something important, that having information can be just as important as providing inspiration. When people are walking through something like this, you can feel alone. Because when we stay silent too long, that's when the opposition starts to whisper. The echoes of the past, the doubts of the present. So I made a decision. For the rest of this season, the next 18 episodes after this one, I'm opening things up. You're going to hear more about the real journey, the recovery, the setbacks, the lessons, and how I'm rebuilding strength, mind, body, and spirit. Season 2 will go even further. I'll add video, live recordings, walk and talk reflections, workouts, stretching, and recovery. You'll even see another part of my life most people don't know about me. Before all of this, I spent years cooking professionally at a high level. Culinary competitions, bodybuilding, nutrition, and performance food. I'm not sharing that to brag. I'm sharing it because when I look back now, I could see how God was quietly connecting the puzzle pieces of my life. And the picture he was painting was very different from the one I had in my mind. And now I'm designing foods and habits to rebuild health. I'll be sharing those things with you as we move forward. This podcast isn't theory. This is real life in the middle of the climb. This is my testimony from the climb. Welcome to Fit and Fire, the Prostate Cancer Comeback Podcast. I'm your host, Al Carter, U.S. Army veteran, prostate cancer survivor, and a man rebuilding strength in real time. This podcast is about mind, body, and spirit. What it really takes to heal, to lead, and to rise again. If you're walking through cancer, recovery, fear, or rebuilding your life, no matter what it is, I want you to know you're not alone. Let's climb together. Welcome to episode 7. The summit isn't where you think it is. But before we go any further, I want to ground this moment in real time. This story isn't being told years later. It's being told while the climb is still happening, while the work is still unfinished, while the lessons are still unfolding. As I record this episode, it is Monday, March 9th, 2026. My surgery was September 11th, 2025. That puts me 179 days into recovery. About 5 months, 26 days. During that time, I've been climbing, relearning my body, researching what happened to me, and rebuilding a deeper relationship with God. I won't pretend every day has been strong. There have been days recently where I felt low. Days where I questioned momentum, but I kept moving. And that matters. I'm still healing, still rebuilding, still adjusting to a changed body and a life that has become narrower. This is where I stop asking, will I survive? And start asking, Lord, you spared my life. What is my purpose now? While the healing is incomplete, while the path is still narrow, this is not reflection from a distance. This is testimony from the climb. I need you to understand this clearly. I am not speaking from the finish line. I'm not speaking from a healed body. I'm not speaking from perfect strength. I'm speaking from identity that was forged on the way up. From a man who is still walking, still adjusting, and still trusting God day by day. This is not hindsight. This is insight gained under pressure. Every climb has a moment where the trees thin out, the air changes, and you finally see the sky open again. It's not the summit, but it's the first glimpse of it. Episode 7 is that moment. Not the victory, the vision. Not completion, clarity. Not the top, the turning point. This is where you see who you're becoming. This is where God says the mountain didn't change. You did. Somewhere between episode 0 and now, something in me has shifted. I slowed down, but I became more intentional. I grew tired, but I became more disciplined. I was wounded, but I became more spiritually aware. There were moments I felt overwhelmed, but those moments taught me surrender. At some point along this climb, I stopped climbing in fear and started climbing in identity. The treadmill nights, the thousands of steps I've taken, working around the house and building my new rhythm of life. The long walks with my dog and companion Dakota, my strength training sessions and physical therapy. The reading of scripture, my research, the discipline, the quiet prayers, the days of survival, the effort to get organized, the honesty about where I really was, the struggle, the fight. Every step on this mountain has been shaping me into a different man than the one who started this climb. And the truth is, I'm not supposed to be the same man who started the climb, because mountains don't just test you, they remake you. Most people think the summit is victory, but spiritually, the summit is something different. The summit is the moment when I finally begin to see who God has been forming me into all along. My mountain was never cancer. My mountain was never recovery. My mountain was never hormone treatment. My mountain was never pain. Those were only the storms that happened along the climb. The real mountain was always identity. Becoming the man God created me to be. For a long time, I was lost. But along this climb, God has been reshaping me into a man of purpose. And if you're listening right now, He's there for you too. Don't be afraid to make your climb, no matter what it is. And in this episode, for the first time, I began to see the outline of that man standing in the mirror. The man I spoke about before. The invisible man. The internal man. God was forming in silence. Now he's becoming visible. God didn't bring me here for exercise. He didn't bring me here just to heal. He brought me here so he could speak without interruption. Up here, the distractions thin out. The echoes lose power. The pain loses authority. The past loses its grip, and the future becomes visible. And the why becomes clear. God allowed the battle so I could discover the calling. While I was away from this podcast, I spent time researching. And what I found stopped me in my tracks. Because when you step back and really look at the numbers behind prostate cancer and breast cancer, the scale of this fight is staggering. And when God began showing me the why behind this climb, He didn't just give me comfort. He gave me responsibility. Because the numbers behind this fight aren't small. They're massive. We are only a few months into 2026, and the statistics surrounding prostate cancer are staggering. According to the American Cancer Society, about 333,830 men in the United States alone will be diagnosed with prostate cancer this year. About 36,320 men will die from it, making it the second leading cause of cancer death in men. Incident rates have been rising by 3% annually, with a 1 in 8 lifetime risk for men. But prostate cancer tells only part of the story. Breast cancer tells another. About 321,910 women will be diagnosed with invasive breast cancer. Most people don't realize this at all. But breast cancer doesn't only affect women. About 2,670 men will also hear those same words. You have breast cancer. And breast cancer will claim about 42,670 lives this year. When you combine those numbers, that's 658,410 people will be diagnosed with either prostate or breast cancer. That's more people that live in the entire state of Wyoming or Vermont. And nearly 79,000 people will die from those two cancers alone, which is the size of a large town or a small city. That's not just a number. That's a national crisis. When you think cancer doesn't affect you, or you choose to tune it out, after hearing numbers like this, these numbers long enough, they start to sound like background noise. Just statistics. Just another report. Just numbers on the screen. A chart. It's just another sad commercial. That would never happen to me. I'm too young. I'm in shape. That happens to other people. Not my problem. I have enough going on. I'm too busy to hear this right now. But they're not statistics. Every one of those numbers is a person, a family, a kitchen table, kids waiting for a parent to come home, a marriage trying to hold itself together, dreams suddenly interrupted, futures that feel uncertain. And when you truly realize that those numbers stop being data and they become responsibility, because something changes when you understand that one of those numbers could be you or someone you love. Suddenly, the numbers stop sounding like data or background noise. They start sounding like the names of people in your life. That's someone's father. That's someone's mother. That's someone's brother. That's someone's sister. That's someone sitting at the kitchen table tonight trying to figure out what happens next. That's a family holding their breath. And then the realization gets even closer. That's my father. That's my mother. That's my brother. That's my sister. That's my friend. That's my neighbor. And one day, if you're not paying attention, that number can become you. And when that realization hits you, the statistics stop feeling distant. They become personal. If cancer were a car and it altered the lives of hundreds and of thousands of families every year, that car would be recalled. There would be a national outrage, congressional hearings, daily headlines, but cancer doesn't explode. It whispers. One appointment, one biopsy, one phone call. Suddenly the air leaves the room because you have been directly impacted. And when I heard, which touched my heart, when I heard about young women in their 20s and another in her 30s facing aggressive breast cancer while I was walking through my climb, that's when the numbers stopped being statistics. That's when it hit me like a broken-hearted thunder, not anger, grief. In a storm, they always tells us the death toll and the devastation, which is absolutely horrific. And my prayers are with those families lost in storms. But what if we took the statistics of cancer, prostate and breast cancer alone, and we treated it like a storm? Because it is a storm, an internal storm. No sirens, no forecast, no projected path or landfall, no evacuation orders, yet the devastation is real. And if we took the numbers, the death toll in the families impacted by prostate and breast cancer, it would be one of the worst storms to ever hit this planet. 658,410 people caught in the storm, nearly 79,000 lives lost. And the terrifying part, the storms keep coming every year. And what makes this even more terrifying, it happens quietly. We normalize it. But quiet devastation is still devastation. Storms don't stop because we ignore them. They don't ask permission. They stop when people prepare for them. Are you prepared? When God reveals the storm, He isn't trying to scare us. He's calling us to prepare. Because preparation matters. Information is not fear. Information is stewardship. Information is stewardship, and faith without stewardship is incomplete. And part of that stewardship begins with understanding something people don't realize about these cancers. Prostate cancer and breast cancer are remarkably similar. Both are hormone-driven cancers. According to the American Cancer Society and the National Cancer Institute, certain inherited genes like BRCA1 and BRCA2, which stands for breast cancer gene, can increase the risk of prostate cancer in men and breast cancer in women. Those genes can be passed from father to his daughter or from a mother to her son, which is why early testing matters. In this episode, God revealed something to me. I wasn't just being shown the numbers. I was being shown my responsibility at a much deeper level. And in that moment, He also showed me my purpose. Because this isn't just about statistics. It's about awakening. It's about awareness. Prostate cancer is primarily fueled by testosterone. Breast cancer is primarily fueled by estrogen. Both cancers grow when those hormones bind to specific receptors in the body. That's why many treatments for these cancers focus on blocking those hormonal signals. And that realization made something very clear to me. We have to be careful what we put in our bodies, both processed foods and supplements. Example of some of the supplements people take to boost testosterone can be extremely dangerous if prostate cancer is present. In some cases, boosting testosterone without knowing your status, it could be like throwing gasoline on the fire. That's why this matters. Before you start taking supplements, before you try to boost hormone levels, before you assume everything is fine, talk to your doctor. Get your PSA levels tested, because you have to know where you stand. Because awareness is part of stewardship. And stewardship is part of preparation. And preparation can save a life. Maybe even your own. Purpose never speaks at the bottom of the mountain. Purpose speaks when elevation reveals vision. This is where God whispers, your story will save someone. Your pain will guide someone. Your journey will break chains. Your testimony will lift men out of darkness. This is where I realize I am no longer climbing for myself. I'm climbing because men need the truth from someone who lived it and is living it now. Men who think they're alone, men whose identities feel attacked, men afraid of hormone changes, men silently battling prostate cancer, men who feel less than themselves in treatment, men who pee on themselves and feel ashamed, men who think dignity is gone, but God is restoring it. This climb becomes ministry. This story becomes a weapon. This voice becomes assignment. This is where Fit and Fire was born, right here. Let me say this plainly. Not as a doctor, not as a pastor, but as a man who almost missed it. Get your PSA level checked. If it's elevated, don't panic. Don't ignore it. Yes, a biopsy may be uncomfortable, but truth always comes before healing. Trust God. Trust your doctor. The PSA test is not fear, it's information. And information can save your life, your future, and your family. This is stewardship. This is responsibility. This is love. Hormones may shift. Strength may fade. Energy may fall. Manhood may feel shaken. But my spirit is stronger than it ever has been. Strength no longer comes from testosterone. Strength comes from God. This is the season where I discover a different kind of power. A spiritual strength that physical strength could never give me. And I need to say something men don't always say out loud. It's not just physical loss. It's control loss. It's privacy loss. Prostate cancer doesn't just touch the body. It hits the deepest places where a man measures himself. Strength, sexuality, independence, and pride. It becomes the before you versus the healing you. At first, it feels like a verdict. But over time, you realize it's not a verdict. It's refinement. And don't compare your new chapter to someone else's highlight reel. As human beings, we must measure things by performance. As human beings, we often measure things by performance, but instead of valuing presence. This is a silent warfare, unseen internal struggles. And it's not only prostate cancer. It's heart disease, depression, ED, diabetes, addiction, and loss. This is a real-time testimony, a checkpoint. I'm not perfect on this podcast. I'm learning to live. I'm living in the process of progression, change by adaptation. It's hard sometimes looking back at your life through today's wisdom and judging yesterday's version of yourself. Cancer is a reminder time isn't unlimited. It changes the lens. It makes every choice feel like it has to count. And the truth is, this is how we should live every day. Not because of cancer, but because we were designed to walk in purpose and become the best version of ourselves, mind, body, and spirit. The word cancer is very scary. It hit me hard. I had to reframe the word, letter by letter. Instead of letting it represent pain, fear, and hopelessness, the military in me helped me turn it into a plan for how I would fight back. Let me share this with you. The letter C in cancer. Concentrate on what you can control. The A. Align your spirit, mind, and body. The N. Nourish intentionally. The C. Connect. Don't isolate. The E. Educate yourself. The R. Respond with responsibility. Cancer forces clarity. Who will you become when the storm hits? Victim or steward? My urologist at the Phoenix VA, Dr. Lindsay Darris, told me something simple. What's good for the heart is good for the prostate. She was talking about food and exercise. And of course, rest. That changed everything. Movement isn't vanity. It's obedience. I've been walking more than 8,000, 10,000, sometimes over 16,000, even close to 20,000 steps a day. Not to chase aesthetics, but to steward life. My physical therapist, Kaylee Brennan at the Pelvic Docs, recommended a book, The Prostate Recovery, MAP, which stands for Men's Action Plan, by Professor Craig Ailingham. Through that author, I also discovered another book he wrote called The Prostate Playbook, Keep It Healthy. I want to be clear, this wisdom isn't mine. These books have been incredibly helpful in my journey. I'm also learning from the incredible medical staff at the Phoenix VA Urology team and the amazing team at the Pelvic Floor Docs in Gilbert, Arizona. And I'm applying what I can in real time. I'm applying this in my life in real time, and I will share it with you. That's what stewardship is. Here's what I'm learning, and this is the biggest thing for this episode. Men need to know what to do before surgery. That's the key to your outcome. Men need to know what to do after surgery. Pelvic floor strength and endurance matters. Preparation matters. Recovery is active. No one told me early on, so I'm telling you, not as a doctor, but as a man walking through it. I'm shifting my diet. More fruits and vegetables. More whole foods. Eliminating processed foods. Less meat, especially red meat. I'm leaning towards Mediterranean-style patterns because what protects the heart often protects the prostate. I'm even planning a small greenhouse. I'm working on that as we speak. Why? Because the faith isn't only what I believe. Faith is what I do with my second chance. And I want to say this clearly. This is not just about men. Breast cancer challenges womanhood. Prostate cancer challenges manhood. Both challenge identity. Both shakes dignity. Both bring psychological and emotional battles that people don't always see. If you're listening, man or woman, you're not weak for being afraid. You're human. And you're not alone. In my earlier episodes, my mind was loud. Episode 4, the echoes. Episode 5, the wind. But here my voice becomes louder than the noise. I stopped saying, I hope I make it. I'm tired. I'm overwhelmed. I'm not myself. And I start saying, I'm walking in purpose. I'm chosen. I'm strong again. I'm favored. I'm led. I am becoming the man God created me to be. This is identity shift. The summit isn't the finish line. It's the beginning. This is where pain becomes instruction. This is where recovery becomes calling. This is where the climb becomes ministry. And God says, now go back down the mountain and lead other men up, men and women. Because testimony becomes survival for someone else. That's what my testimony is. It becomes survival for someone else. This podcast cannot stay one way. It has to become a conversation. If you're scared, if you've been just diagnosed, if you're supporting someone going through this, if you don't know what to do next, reach out to me. Fit You can reach out to me at fitandfiremedia@gmail.com. FITANDFIREMEDIA@gmail.com. All together. Fitandfiremedia@gmail.com. Or you can go to Instagram at Fit Fire Podcast. All together. At FITFIRE Podcast. So that's my Gmail. That's my Instagram. This is not just a podcast anymore. It's a community forming in real time. This was episode 7. The summit isn't where you think it is. This episode marks the turning point. Identity has been revealed. Purpose has been named. But clarity does not end the journey. It redirects it, because next comes the descent, not backwards, but outward. Men think the summit is where they arrive. That's what men think. The summit is where you arrive. But the summit is where you recognize yourself. You don't become the man at the top. You became him on the way up. No. And on the way down, you become the steward of what the mountain taught you. That's why you must climb and not be afraid of that climb. You finally see the version of yourself God always saw from day one. Stronger, wiser, more surrendered, more spiritual, more whole. The summit isn't a location. It's transformation. The summit doesn't send me forward. It sends me back down with responsibility. In episode 8, the descent begins, where leadership replaces survival, where humility is tested, where obedience matters more than elevation. Because the climb was never about personal victory. It was about being shaped to help others. The summit didn't change me. The climb did. Thank you for listening.